So look, this is the dark side of low heart rate training. Before looking at the benefits, it's validating to acknowledge why most runners struggle with this method initially. Look, the internet is full of runners venting about specific frustrations. There's the ego walk. It's the most common complaint is the need to walk to keep the heart rate down. And for many runners, running at 130 to 145 beats means slowing to a 13 to 15 minute mile pace, which can feel literally embarrassing, specifically when you're uploading data to public platforms like STRAVA or look, the shuffle mechanics, runners often find it physically awkward to run so slowly. Form can break down, leading to shuffle that feels unnatural and can sometimes cause new aches because the biometrics are different from their natural stride. And look, there's also boredom and monotony. And look, without the dopamine hit of a hard workout, these runs literally can feel incredibly long and mentally dull. Then there's the cardiac drift trap. You might be starting at a nice steady pace, but 30 minutes in, your heart rate spikes despite holding the same speed due to heat or fatigue, forcing you to slow down even more as the run progresses. And then there's doubt, because it doesn't feel like a workout. Many runners struggle to believe it's actually making them faster, leading to inconsistency and outright just quitting running slow. Now, there are 10 reasons why running slow, aka zone 2 of the Maffetone method, is beneficial for running a half marathon. And listen, despite the initial struggle, this method particularly is potent for a half marathon distance. And unlike the 5K, which is going to be high intensity, or for a full marathon, which is, full on survival, look, the half marathon requires a unique blend of speed and aerobic durability. And here's why, in my opinion, zone 2 is the secret weapon for cracking a 13.1 mile half marathon. Number 10, glycogen sparing. This is the fuel tank upgrade. So a half marathon typically lasts for about 1.5 to 2.5 hours. And our initial body has limited carbohydrate, which is glycogen stores, usually enough for 90 minutes of a hard effort. But training in zone 2 teaches your body to burn fat for fuel instead of full-on carbs. And why it matters for a half marathon is you burn fat efficiently during the first 10 miles. You save your rocket fuel, which is your glycogen, for the final 3 miles when you need to kick ass to the finish line. Number 9 is increased mitochondrial density. Now that is zone 2 training stimulates the growth of mitochondria. These are the power plants in your cells. And why it matters for running a half marathon is more mitochondria means you can process more oxygen and produce more energy with less effort. So it rises the floor, so your ceiling, your race pace can go higher. 8 is lactate clearance efficiency, and so biologically zone 2 is the intensity just before lactate starts to accumulate in the blood. Training here increases the transport proteins, which is MCT1, responsible for clearing the lactate. And so why this matters for the half marathon is on race day, when you run faster, zone 3-4, your body will be better at vacuuming up all the fatigue causing byproducts, allowing you to hold a threshold pace longer without your legs burning out. Number 7 is safe volume increase. The number 1 predictor for a half marathon success, in my opinion, is total weekly volume and time. Zone 2 reduces the stress on the muscles and tendons. And so why that matters for a half marathon is it allows you to safely increase your mileage from, let's say, 20 to 35 miles per week without the high risk of shin splints or stress fractures associated with high intensity workouts. Number 6 is the type of muscle fiber development. So zone 2 specifically targets low twitch, which is type 1 muscle fibers, which are fatigue resistant. And why it matters for the half marathon is these are actually the fibers that carry you from mile 6 to mile 13. Neglecting them in favor for fast intervals leave you with a weak engine that can kind of crumble in the second half of the race. I know it has for me, and it kind of sucks when it happens. Number 5 is your improved cardio stroke volume. So low intensity training allows the heart level ventricle to fill completely with blood before pumping, effectively stretching the chamber size over time. High intensity heart rate pumps so fast the chamber doesn't fill fully. So why it matters for a half marathon is a larger left ventricle pumps more blood per beat, and that means your heart doesn't have to beat as fast to maintain race pace. Then there's the thermoregulation and sweat management. So as you become more aerobically fit, your body becomes more efficient at cooling itself and retaining electrolytes. Maybe. It could be debated, but I'm throwing it in there. And why it matters for the half marathon is late in a half marathon, dehydration leads to that cardiac drift. So it's your heart rising, efficiently killing your pace. So zone 2 adaptations help delay the drift. Number 3 is faster recovery between sessions. And because zone 2 causes minimal stress on the system, you recover often within 24 hours. I know I have, maybe you have, I don't know, maybe comment below. But why it matters for the half marathon is it allows you to tackle 1 or 2 key sessions like tempo runs or long intervals with fresh legs. And you aren't carrying fatigue from your easy runs into your hard workouts. Number 2 is the capillarization, which is the low intensity running increases the network of capillaries, tiny blood vessels surrounding your muscles. And so why this really matters for the half marathon training is think of this as opening up more service roads to your muscles. It ensures oxygen gets delivered and waste gets removed faster during the race. And look, number 1, mental discipline, and that's the pacing strategy. Zone 2 requires constant ego checks and discipline to not run too fast too soon. And why it matters for running a half marathon is the biggest mistake I've made in a half marathon is going out too fast too soon, the initial 3 miles. Zone 2 training wires your brain to control the effort and ignore the urge to sprint early, which is the key to a negative split, finishing faster than you started. I may have done that once or twice in my time, but I'll tell you, it works amazing when you dial in. So look, if you like these videos, if these are helping you from like a non-elite runner, just a recreational runner who just takes what I learn and what I've experienced and just gives it to you, maybe like, subscribe, comment the videos. It really does help. Look, if you're still here, training for a half marathon is not always easy. And trying to get out and do the training, look, sign up for the race, put it on the calendar, and then just start. Make it a priority. Book it as an appointment. Do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you get out and put in the sessions. Because if not, man, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a sufferfest. And I've gone through those moments, and it just really, really sucks. Now, another thing I thought I'd mention is this is something that I want to train for in the new year. I actually do want to get going with half marathon training, and maybe I can kind of turn it into something a little bit more, maybe go for, a full marathon at some point. I know I talk about it. I know I go through it, but look, it's real life struggles. It's just so much family stuff happening, so much work stuff happening, just so much life happening. And it's something interesting because look, waking up early, I don't like to wake up my wife, so it can be a real challenge. But I actually have a new alarm clock that goes on my wrist. I'm gonna try this out. I'll talk about it because that way I can sleep upstairs in the same bed as my wife and not wake her up when I get up, when this goes off. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, who it is, but it is a cool little device. And I got to give it a little bit more time so I can really, see if it really does work. But my initial testing, so far so good. We'll try it out for another couple more weeks and see where we go. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about sharing that. Also, there's a pair of running shoes I want to be talking about in another video, and a couple of heart rate monitors that I've neglected that I need to kind of talk about as well, because they were sent to me and I need to talk about them because they work and they're fairly inexpensive. And in this day and age, everything is so expensive. I thought I'd share what these devices, what they look like and and how they work and how it's helped me. So, okay, I'm out of here now. Have a good one, and I guess go Christmas shopping, because that's kind of a real thing now. Cyber Monday starts tomorrow. It's crazy, I know. Anyways, I'm out of here. Later. And look, like I always say, get out and run. And this video right here on your screen, I think it'll help you in your training. So until the next time, love everybody, enjoy the grind, and get out and run. See you next week.